Hello and happy Wednesday. I hope you guys are all ready, at least those of you guys in the US are ready for Thanksgiving tomorrow. I'm excited to hang out and chat with you while I work on making some new clusters. I used a whole bunch up recently and I need to get some more made up. So if you are going to be lurking, that is totally fine. Maybe you're doing all kinds of Thanksgiving duties. Just, when you get a chance, maybe pop over to the chat and let us know you're here. And if you're watching this on the replay, I hope you had a good turkey day. I'm looking forward to stuffing tomorrow. I do love Thanksgiving stuffing. I was trying to get a few things out because, as usual with me, I take out too many things to work with, and then I have too many choices. And too many choices can be paralyzing sometimes. So just trying to pull a few things out. Hey, Mary. Yeah, it has been a long time. Happy to see you today. Are you all ready for Thanksgiving? Will you be cooking or will you be going someplace else for the food? Let's see if I can get that a little. Does that work any better? No. Just trying to get it so that the other one is bigger. Hey, Victoria. Thank you. I know you guys don't do our Thanksgiving. How are you doing? Did you get everything all set up in the new spot? Mary, what have you been doing lately to keep yourself so busy? I do see you commenting on some things, I think, over on Instagram, or maybe that was a while back. You are the cook and you have been busy. What is your specialty dish that you are making for tomorrow? We have our turkey. Well, I shouldn't say we. By we, I mean my husband got our turkey. It's sitting in a brine right now. Every time I start these, I always hesitate. It's like, where do I go? What do I want to do to start? Oh, you're not feeling good. That's not fun. I'm sorry. I hope you kick whatever it is to the curb real fast. Do I have you in too close, I wonder? Let's see if we do this just a little bit more. There we go. I'm also looking forward to pumpkin pie. I mean, come on, dessert is one of the better things, right? Yeah, working on your phone to comment is hard, I know. So you lurk, feel better. Knowing that you're here always makes me feel good. I like seeing your name pop up on the screen. All right, let's just dawdle around on these things. And if nothing happens, and it's okay. What I want to do is I want to make more today. I have a need for some more that don't have the square edges, that are more free form. Oh, I'm so sorry that you lost your father, Mary. That is a tremendous thing to have to deal with. Hey, Joanne, how are you doing today? Are you cooking for tomorrow? Well, Mary, I hope you find some comfort in the family gathering tomorrow. All right, let's see what we can build on that. Where's the one I just cut apart? It's the square edges that I don't want. I want to make some larger clusters that I can put then on some of my painted papers, but I don't want them to look too perfect. So what's your do you have a signature dish that you're cooking tomorrow, Joanne? That's the wrong color. I love this little one because there's something about, it's funny that I didn't used to use the polyester laces, but some of them just have a really good feel to them for these clusters. Hey, Sandy, how are you doing? What are your plans for Turkey Day, if any? Hey, look who made it. Hello, Whispering Cauldron, whose name I forget, but maybe you don't like to use it. I can never remember. Some people prefer not to use their names, which is totally cool. I'm glad you made it. I know you've been having a hard time getting the notifications, doggone YouTube. You're cooking for one. You're cooking for you. That means you get to have whatever you want, huh? Joanne says, I do the sides and your sister cooks the meats. Nice. Oh, Victoria. Yikes. You don't need that. You do not need to be sick. Carol. There we go. Thank you. Carol. Carol McDonald, right? Now my brain is coming. My brain is waking up. I just had some sleepy time in my brain. All right. It is hard to do certain things with this stinking brace on. This finger has got to get better, but they're saying another 4 to 6 weeks. I just can't seem to get the swelling down. So she said to wear this little buddy thing to kind of protect it, because of course, as soon as I take it off, I'm going to run it into something, but it does make things awkward. All right. We're just going to keep building until it feels done. There are no rules when you're making clusters. You just kind of go with what's in the mood. But I do want some different textures in here. My husband's also making a shaved carrot salad that we haven't had for a long time. And as I recall, it was yummy. All right. Okay, there we go. Now we're getting somewhere. Now we need some fuzzies. Well, she said she wanted me to use it because it was stiff from not being used, and then I re-injured it. And then she also said, though, to keep the brace on so that I protected it in case I like bent it backwards or something. So I sort of feel like it's a catch-22, you know, I'm supposed to use it, but I'm not supposed to hurt it. You know, I ice it, I hold it up when when I'm sitting on the couch doing other things that I can do with one hand, I just hold it up. Hello, Wondering Stars. I don't use it to type. I'm only doing voice text to type, which is why I've not been commenting as much. So I don't know what else I'm supposed to do. Oh, here's where my little stick's buried. You filmed 3 videos this afternoon. Wow. That's a lot when you're not feeling good, Victoria. Wondering Stars, do you have a name you want us to call you by, or do you want to just go by Wondering Stars? Either is totally fine. All right, me and my trusty seam ripper. So I got to get rid of those straight edges. So what projects are people working on right now? Stacy. Okay, Wondering Stars is Stacy. I will probably forget until you're here, a few more times, but some people keep a cheat list for us, and that helps out. All right, that already looks better. Let's see, where does it want to go? Maybe back here. All right, we need some dangly bits because we always need dangly bits. It's different from that. That's good. And some threads would be good. Try and not plunk my stuff all over the place. Oh, I'm happy to have you join us. We always love having new faces come join our conversations. We always have some good conversations here. Trying not to cherry pick the threads, but you bought some wooden embellishments, which you're planning on heat embossing in an upcoming video. Nice. I have a heat embossing plan as well, but I haven't gotten to it yet. It's on my list. I'm trying to be careful about what things I pick to work on that are easy to work on when I'm like this. Sandy says, I'm still working on 2 Halloween journals. I still want them done. I can't stop or I will never go back. Yeah. yeah, you reach a point, don't you, where it's like, okay, I'm over this project. I'm ready to move on. I've been working on my website update, and it was really interesting to me to be looking at past projects. You know, I was going through all my photos to make sure I had the stuff that I wanted to have on there. And it was just really interesting for me to see some of the projects that just like, nope, they never went anywhere. They stopped. They're done. I have a lot of things still to finish off, but a lot of them are at the point where I need to do them, unfortunately, off camera, because when I really have to do a lot of thinking about what's happening next on a project, I confess it's hard to be that creative on camera sometimes with certain things. Hey, Sharon, good morning to you. Tell hubby thank you for me. Happy to have you join us, as always. I have to say, though, Sandy, I know you're probably sick of your journals, but those Halloween things that you have shared, they are wonderfully creepy and amazing, and I love what you've done. I mean, I don't do Halloween stuff. You know, it's never been my thing, but it's really interesting to me to see what you've done. Jelly plate Play-Day with stencils sounds good. I was tempted to, because I have papers that I want to do, but I know I didn't want to get out another huge mess. I really didn't. I got a couple things. I've got my loom set up behind me on the other table, and so I really want to do some weaving. And if I took out the jelly plates, I'd have that stuff all over the place. Okay, I think I have enough. I need to thread a needle. Oh, it's been fun. That's good. Good. Fun is good. Sharon's like, I don't know what day it is today. Yeah. These time zones, they get inconvenient, and then we get busy, and then we start doing all this brain stuff, working on the website for the last 4 days solid. So I haven't been doing, artsy stuff, and it throws me for a loop. It's like a totally different, brain space that you have to get into. Okay. I'm using my really big needle because it doesn't matter. I don't have to have precise stitches here. And everybody making sure you are in live chat, not top chat, so that you don't miss anything. Well, good morning to you too, Diana. Sharon beat you here this morning. How are you doing today? All right, needle threaded. Now we got to figure out what order all these things are going to go in here. Just going to make sure that I can catch everything enough. That kind of hanging out the bottom. And something else hanging out, but that can go lower. I was just saying, it's frustrating to the healing process on this thing. Trying to get the swelling down is the hardest thing, and I'm not doing, I'm not typing with it. I'm trying not to use it. I'm just using the brace like she wanted me to do, the doctor wanted me to do, but it's very hard to get the swelling to go down. Hello, Mitzi. How are you doing today? Does that sparkly go in there? That sparkly can go in there. And then do we want any more? Oh, we want some brown threads. Yeah, I think that's going to work. All right. And I think I want this fuzzy piece also. That one doesn't want to stay in there. Okay. Oh, there we go. Thank you for the reminder. Victoria says, please, everybody, hit the thumbs up. I appreciate it when you do that. Okay, these things are difficult to navigate without a good finger. I'm not sure if I have everything gathered or not, but we'll see. We'll start stitching, and that's what we'll find out, whether it's connected or not. All right, let's see what we got. Hey, Barbara. Yeah, that's when I'm done with this. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be back over at the couch icing the finger. You know, at least it's nicer. It's nice having this one so I can bend it a little bit, but that's like as far as that finger bends right now. It doesn't bend anymore. And I could probably take it off while I was doing these, except I know I'm a ding-a-ling, and you know, it'd be just like me to do something to bend it backwards like that. Or all right, these, think about that. You get a cramp in your finger when you start holding things a different way. So Barbara, what are you guys doing for Thanksgiving? I love it how I'm never sure how these are gonna, you know, when I start out, how these are gonna come together, and then I start getting all these little dangly bits, and I just love it. I have ideas. I want to paint some papers after I get some of these bigger ones done. And then play around with the oh, salmon, nice. No, this is so, did I bring any out? So here, imagine, I do have, you know, I've got a couple little books that are in progress, but this is not the best color thing to show it on. But imagine that this was a piece of paper, you know, a pretty piece of paper that was painted in the same colors. And then I want to mount a cluster to it and then do something with the paper. I posted something on Instagram, maybe on my Facebook too. I didn't put it in the group, but on my Instagram and on my personal Facebook page, there's pictures of a couple I was playing around with yesterday. I just did 2 books really quick, so I kind of wanted to do something else for a little. Plus, I knew I wanted to be thinking about these, because this is the sort of thing when I'm building a mixed media piece, any kind of wall art, I kind of have to do it in stages so I can look at it for a while and decide, is it doing what I want it to do? Or do I need to add something else? So I kind of lay things out on the island in the studio and walk by it, you know, 50 times a day. Now, of course, you know, you could always just grab your Fabri-Tac and glue these things together. And sometimes I do that. Sometimes I'll put a little bit of glue just to hold things in place while I'm stitching. But I think this one is all held together. I just love doing those little books, but I like to have them kind of sitting by the couch when we're watching TV because they don't take up a lot of space. All right, yeah, and see, that could always have a little stick that goes with it as well. But I think for now, we're just going to call that done and see what else we can do. After Thanksgiving, I have this shoebox full of just all the stuff from my desk, and I'm going to start making clusters, see how many clusters I can get out of that shoebox. I bet I get like 100 of them. We'll see how long it takes me to use them all up. I have too many boxes of scraps, of the tiny scraps everywhere. So, all right, that is good enough. All right, we're going to call that one D for done. Whoops, almost lost my needle. When I went to the doctor's for my finger recently, I stopped by the fabric store and took in my favorite needle. Could not find anybody to help me. There was like no customer service whatsoever. So I just went over to the needle wall and bought like 3 packs of needles. None of them are exactly right. My favorite needle has a really, in addition to having a long slot for the thread, it's wider than any of the ones, but I found some that are kind of close, so they won't become my favorite needle, but they're better than some of the other ones I was using. Hey Shauna, how are you doing today? What's new with you? What are you working on? Okay, the shredding part is hard too. But the shredding adds so much to these things that I really got to get it in there. So Carol, what have you been working on lately? I don't think I asked you that. All right, let me pull my little... On my Facebook page, the cover piece, thank you. It's one of the little books. I love that angle of doing stuff. And after Thanksgiving, I should have the new website live so you can go over and see all the pictures without having to watch through a video if you didn't want to. Okay, that's the same thing here. Hey, Lori, how are you? You so happy I'm doing my clusters? Thank you. I'm glad other people love them as much as I do. They're just so much fun. You're finishing up your hexagon quilt and a bit of embroidery. You're a beautiful quilter. Your quilt work just is amazing. So precision. Oh, Lucy should be here so she can follow you around too, because Lucy's also a fabulous quilter. Now, you know what? I don't like the pink in that. That's why I remember. That's why I cut that off of the other stuff. Let's see if we can cut away from the pink. You're trying to learn so you can make some? Ah, okay. Well, the way I start is figuring out what's going to go behind everything. That's usually the first thing. I'm with you, Sandy. I admire quilters too. I don't have the patience. That's why my Just Because books work for me, is because I don't have to be precise. And these clusters work for me because I don't have to be precise. You figure out, you know, a color family and some teeny tiny scraps. Piece of lace, but I would, yeah, I could use the white lace. Oh, I love this too. This is the sheer curtain material. And that's always fun because it frays differently. Doesn't like give you soft edges like fabric does, but I want it kind of long. But I did ask the doctor, you know, if it was okay to use the hand like once in a while and then rest it after that. She's like, yeah, just, you know, then ice it after you use it, because I have a bunch of dyeing I want to do. Hasn't she done awesome, Victoria? I am so glad you said that. She said, Sharon, I've been enjoying your Instagram reels recently. Well done for being brave enough to show your face on camera too. And Sharon is being super brave, and I am so dang proud of her. It's scary. It's scary to come out there and be ourselves on camera and show parts of ourselves that we normally keep, you know, to our private side of life. All right, I don't like that. Here's a piece of lace. My thing when I'm making clusters, for me, is I don't like the straight edges. So that's where my best friend, my seam ripper, comes in. And just like we tear paper when we're working in journals to get those raw edges so that we can ink them up and make them look more old, I like to take the seam ripper to the lace so that things look like, you know, they've been through the ringer a few times. Other thing you can do, if you have cotton, linen, you know, muslin kind of fabric, is cut it into strips or cut it into pieces, whatever you want, and then throw it through throw it through your washing machine and dryer a few times. And, you know, I just stick mine in one of those little laundry bags. And then the more times it goes through the washing machine, it gets a little bit more aged. Sharon is Paper and Lace Moments over on Instagram. Hi, Barbara. She says, I love your cluster videos too. Yesterday, I watched an old one about the 4th time I've watched the same video. Oh, thank you. That's really sweet of you. I appreciate that. Let's see. I need something long and dangly, and I want this fabric, but it needs to be a different way. Yeah, Sharon, it is very daunting, but you are doing a wonderful job. I am just really super proud of you. All right, got this one. Whoops, going to pull my thread right out of my needle if I'm not careful. Let's see, this is some kind of cool lace. Thank you, Victoria. I appreciate you putting the link up for us. Yeah, she's been doing some really great stuff. Sharon and I hope you don't mind if I out you, Sharon, are in a class with Lennon Bone. And you can go check out his YouTube channel, Lennon Bone, or his website, which is Stop the Starving Artist. And just kind of learning how to navigate the online world in a way to better grow our audience and grow our businesses. Hey, Doreen, how are you doing today? Yeah, you know, I'm a sucker for the earth tones, right? Absolutely a sucker for the earth tones. Be a little long and it's a little too straight. You can also follow Stop the Starving Artist on Instagram, and he posts a lot of his content over there. See, now I love it when this is a polyester lace and the threads are just starting to come unraveled like this. I love it when that happens. All right, now that looks a little more worn. Yeah, I think what I'm going to do this weekend is I might cut a bunch of stuff up, and I got to remember this is the only thing holding those together, and throw them in the washing machine. All right, and this is, I'm horrible at knowing what my materials are. That's too big is what it is. A crepe, I think, of some kind. At least that's what it kind of feels like. I was chicken too, Diana, like a year ago, and I took my first class with Lennon, and it was, gosh, it was scary to get started trying to do something like that. But I'm really happy now that I've gotten braver at doing it. And, you know, you come across as a little bit more real to the people that you're trying to talk to about your art. It helps you connect to them, helps them connect to you. Shoshi, hello, how are you? Oh my gosh, the new Silk Road book you're working on is absolutely amazing. I love it so much. And in fact, I want to do some layered, you know, you always inspire me to go do some more stuff. You always do. Baby steps are all you need, you know? All right, so we have, this is going to be the back. Did I tie a knot in my, I did. I tied a knot in my thread, so I'm actually ready to go. All right, this one. Thanks, Victoria. Are you stitching or beading tonight, Shoshi? All right, let's see here. Oh, maybe I do that. Maybe this one hangs down like that. No, I liked it up. Definitely going to get a cramp in my finger. Barbara says, I bought some raw curly wool to add to junk journal clusters. It's called Border Leicester. The lady I got it from is dying to know what I'm going to use it for. I tried to explain your clusters. Well, you know, grab a link. Like if you're on Instagram, grab a link from one of my Instagram posts that shows some and send it to her. They're hard to explain. You know, I don't know my fibers well at all, so I will confess that what I have done when I have added to my fiber stash is I just go on Etsy and page down until I find something that I fall in love with, and then I end up filling my cart. I just was really, hey, Lucy. So you need to check out Whispering Cauldron, Carol McDonald, and her beautiful quilts. I was telling her you are also a quilter. Diana says she just found 2 bags of curls. Oh, man. But I just bought a bunch of bramble and nettle fiber that I'm real excited to play with. Well, even if you tried to do something the same way as somebody else, it's not going to come out the same. Like I look at Shoshi's stuff and I want to do things in that same vein. Whoops, I don't have enough of a dangle, do I? But no matter what I do, it's not going to come out like hers, exactly like hers, because she does things her way and I do things my way. And that's what's really wonderful about art, is that we can all start at the same place and land someplace different. I need more of a background. Let's grab some of this netting. I like this. I still need a long dangle though, and I forgot to grab it before my fingers start to cramp up. This is going to be interesting. Okay, maybe we'll do that instead, except I still need something thin. That's kind of big. And the nice thing about clusters is once everything is put together, you can still keep building it up. All right, I'm gonna have to put it down so I can find something long and dangly. Like in here. I guess I could use the rest of that, but let's see if there's anything else. I'm still working my way through all these wonderful scraps of threads that a weaver gave me. It was wonderful. It's not quite the right color though. Whispering Cauldron is Carol McDonald. Oh, you're finishing the book. Wow, so you're almost done with Silk Road 2. Oh, can't wait to see the flip through of that. Sorry for the clunky noise. Let's see. Did I not bring? I thought I brought my other yarns out. Oh, well, this is the challenge, right? When you don't have everything you think you have, then you just need to get creative. Add some gold. That's still not what I want. Because my goal is I just keep working until it makes me happy. If I'm not happy with it, it's not done yet. Or what Sharon says, Sharon knows she's done when she lets out a big sigh. Says, yep, that's it. That's the story I wanted to tell. I have the right colors that I want here. All right, so I can add a little bit of white. Nothing wrong with that. And mix it with some brown and some threads. And we'll just mix things up. The only thing I kind of do is I pick through my thread pile if there's a color that's going to really, draw the eye away from what else is going on. If there's a pink in there or a blue in there and I don't have any of that in the cluster. Otherwise, whatever I pull out of the rat's nest, that's it. You also found a bag of silk hankies. Some of you had started to dye. Glad you got the felting supplies out. Wow. Yeah, when I dyed with some carrot tops the other day, and I didn't grab any silk hankies, but I did grab some old lace, and it came out really pretty. It's like a pale yellow green, so I think I'm going to do some rust dyeing with it. Hey, Mona, how are you doing today? All right, this one's not going to get as much of this. Yeah, as quilters, you're probably used to chucking a lot more of the stuff that you can use for journals or, ephemera. I know you've been making some ephemera pieces. Are you all healed now, Lucy? You're all better, I hope. So let's see. The yellow doesn't go. All right, this one's gotten really fat, which may be a problem considering what I want to use them for. Let's see if we go. Huh. Oh, good. You're all recovered. That's nice. I'm glad. Something feels too precise. Might be this guy. And then there's too much. Maybe this guy doesn't go in there. Maybe that's it. Maybe that's the one that doesn't belong. Yeah, I think that looks better. Sharon says, it kind of breaks my heart to think of all the quilters who are throwing away their small pieces. It's a treasure for so many of us. Yeah. Of course, we always have that, even just a look back at stuff we've gotten rid of when we've destashed, and it's like, oh man, now I'm doing this other thing, and I could have used it. I'm having problems right now with, you guys all know I have this humongous closet full of fabric. A lot of it that I have dyed, in various ways, whether natural dyes or with my paints or inks or whatever. And I'm taking this class on fiber sculpture, and the pieces would be absolutely perfect to use it, and I just need to talk myself into using them and not hoarding them. It's ridiculous. Hey, Sandy, because if I use them up, then I can make more, right? But if I just hoard them, they're just sitting there in the closet and I'm not making the sculptures, and I'm using the excuse that, I don't have the right materials. Diana says, I realized how darn rough my hands were when I tried to separate the layers of the silk. Yeah, there's certain things with the wool roving gets me a lot of the time. I know some people, when they're working with the really fine fabrics, they wear gloves. Yeah, the hoarding issue is just ridiculous. It's like, okay, if only I had fabrics in great colors that I could, practice doing these sculptures with. Well, gee, Susan, you have a whole closet full of them. Why don't you open the closet and take some out and start making the sculptures? I don't know. Because when I use them up, they'll be gone. Well, duh, you have a whole bunch of plain fabric that you can dye again. You would like a class on structures, like what kind of structures, Lori? Let me know, because I am actually working on classes for 2022. I'm kind of trying to figure out my platform, how I'm going to serve them. But let me know, what it is you might like. Lucy said, Carol said she keeps her small pieces, but she doesn't have a huge stash of anything. And Lucy said she's made a scrap vortex quilt. Oh, fun. Oh, did I miss Barbara's comment about crocheted snowflakes? Ooh. Is that what she's been working on? All right. I kind of like this, but I kind of don't. So something's got to shift a little bit. Oh, what I'm talking about with the scraps? Yeah, I'll have to see if I can do some things differently, because right now it's from a class that I'm taking from Clarissa Clarison. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her last name. She is over at Fiber Arts Take Two. So I obviously don't want to step on her toes, but we'll see what I come up with. Barbara says, I keep a trash can by my sewing machine for threads and any other tiny scraps. I need a bigger trash can. Yeah. Well, this was just, one little section of the threads. I mean, I have a huge shoebox full of them. I do separate out like the kinds of things. So like I have threads in one container, the fuzzies in another container, lace bits in another container, silk, sari scraps. But I keep all the scraps. I don't throw anything out. When I do laundry, anything that comes on any of the threads on the clothes, I save those. I don't save the lint, although somebody was saying possibly it could be used for stuffing some of the soft sculptures. All right, this is different. Now, one of the things when I have the threads and they're all from the same piece and they're all looped together like that, can you see how they're all attached? I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut them. And I might lose some. Some of them might come unstuck, but I'm going to cut them at different places. Snowflakes coming out. Oh, so Barbara is crocheting with thin cotton thread. Oh, wow. So now it doesn't look quite so perfect because the edges have been cut. And it's not like a loop, like it just came off the spool. That's just my thing. You might like the loops. Sometimes I leave them, sometimes I don't. And sometimes you cut the thread you were stitching with. Yeah, I need to own my own skill set before I teach the classes. So I've been debating trying to do a class on the Just Because book, but it seems like on one hand, they seem very simple to me, but maybe we should do like a Zoom workshop where we can all gather up our stuff and just do a one-day thing. Just used a dryer sheet to remove iron-on adhesive from my iron. It worked beautifully. Oh, what a good tip. Lucy says, as a quilter, I throw stuff away that I then might have used for embroidering or journaling. Yeah. Diana says, crocheting is my winter sport. I started a blanket out of cotton in a mandala pattern. Needless to say, it's a cushion cover now. Oh, Lucy, it hurts sometimes, not as much as it did a week ago. So that must mean that it's finally healing. It's very stiff. I can't bend it any more than that. And the doctor wanted me to wear the buddy stuff on it so it can still bend and I can get some use out of it, but to protect it in case I bump it into something. And, just going to take time to get the swelling to go down. So lots of icing, gentle massage, and time. She said another 4 to 6 weeks, which is really frustrating. But yeah, it is healing. Thank you very much. All right, I think I got everything attached. This is what I wanted. I wanted some big ones like this. Let's tie this off. And again, you can come back in later and, take a little bit of glue if you need to dab anything down that doesn't feel like it's super connected. But I usually wait until I'm going to put it on a piece, while they're just in my, done pile waiting to be used. I'm not as worried about it. And it looks like I made a knot on the back side by not getting that all the way through. So I will come back in later and clean that up. Gonna have to start wearing my glasses to do the needlework. I can tell. There we go. So that one's a little different. I wanted stuff that'll dangle around on the page. All right, so let's thread the needle and knot it first. Yes, that is rust on there. Isn't that wonderful? This, I wish I could still get this. This was the cheapest find. And if I'd have realized how much I was going to love it, I would have bought, 10 bags of it. It was at the dollar store years ago at Halloween time. And it was like this netting that you would put out for spider webs, or it's more like a fisherman's net, but it's cotton and it takes the color marvelously. And so it's like a really super wide weave cheesecloth. LaMaya Fox is in the house. How are you? Yeah, gloves. Mouse, there you are. How are you doing today? New folks, let us know what you are doing for Thanksgiving. And what food are you looking forward to? My mother-in-law is such a sweetheart. I like stuffing that is like has the crunchy bits on top. So I always want the top pieces. She always makes a separate small bowl that she can stick in the oven and get me all the crunchy bits on top. It's my favorite thing. Crazy cloth. Is that what it's called? Can I still get it somewhere? Because I love it. It's because when you've got, let's see here. You know, so I've got some cheesecloth. I don't remember what weight this is, but you know, you can see it's much different spacing, even though you can pull this apart and get the wide spacing. It's just really nice to have the variety. All right, what do we want to start with? It's a bigger piece of lace. See, now I couldn't find any a couple years ago. Lucy says, I have whole woolen blankets bought in charity shops for slow stitching and embroidery. I'm never going to use them all. You need to cut them down and dye the rest in shades. Oh. Hey, Sandy, I would love that. We can swap some stuff. Let me know what you need because I think that's just so wonderful. Lucy, you're so lucky that you guys have a lot of the woolen blankets showing up in your shops. I remember when I was thrifting a lot, I would look for wool blankets and wool anything, and I could not find them here. I guess it's just too warm in California. Scary mesh. See, my dollar store, all they have anymore as far as that stuff goes now is this like acrylic stuff that really kind of I don't know, it just sort of meshes together and it doesn't separate. It's not a netting at all, so I couldn't find any. The finger is slowly healing. Thank you for asking. Yeah, they do. They cost way too much. I did buy some wool scraps, recycled wool scraps, a gal that buys up wool things and then she cuts them down into sizes and sometimes dyes them. So I've got some of those, but wow. Ooh, so Sharon and Diane can share resources. Nice. Yeah, if you want napkins, Sandy, I can send you some napkins, fussy cut or whole. You can do a trade. I still have a lot of the napkins left from the sale. All right. Unpretty the lace. Okay, so if we add these things together, maybe we'll do burlap on this one, huh? You just bought it all at Halloween. So maybe this Halloween, maybe there'll be more. It's been like maybe 3 years since I looked because obviously the last couple of years have not been shopping in the shops. Every once in a while, I would find linen. What I get really excited about was I would find 100% cotton sheets because they, of course, color so well. Yeah, I love burlap too. Huge double linen sheet for 2.5 pounds. Oh, wow. That is a bargain. Shoot, you know what I don't like about the burlap for this project, though, is that it's a little too straight. I don't know if I can make this do what I want it to. We'll see. If only a little bit of it is hiding out, it might be okay. And this has only got one thing holding it together, so maybe I can thread it through the burlap. I ordered something from Amazon a while ago. It was some kind of Halloween mesh, and it's close, but it's not quite the same thing. The reason I'm putting this through here is I was just kind of figuring, since there's only one, okay, there we go, kind of destroying the burlap, so that's a little better. But I'm definitely going to need more something there. That is not the color I would want. Let's do maybe a long piece of cheesecloth. They throw so many wool blankets in the trash here in Queensland that they only keep the really good ones in the op shops. Wow. Victoria's in the UK. Hey, Kat. Sorry you didn't get the reminder. That stinks. All right. I don't know. The burlap might not stay. We'll see. We'll see. For some reason, I have trouble going big, and I really want to break that habit. Barbara says, I saved the dryer lint to make handmade paper. My friend does that, just collecting so far, but I've made some faux handmade paper by gluing stuff onto cardstock. Yep. I was going to do a video with my faux handmade paper a while back, and then I went to the other direction of just making the paper, and then I just got sidetracked. Small is cute, but I want a few big ones for this other project idea, and it's just, all right, too perfect. It is too perfect. Okay, let's find something else that we like. I don't know. It's not calling to me. Try the big piece of brown. Although this is going to be pretty perfect. So Lucy, Victoria is in Lancashire. Yeah, that's not going to do what I want it to do. It might work as a small dangle. Okay, let's see, maybe. We cut through there. Now, this is a polyester mix of something. Yeah, not quite. I want the length on this one. You can just mix in the dryer lint when you've got your pulp going. So it just becomes one more piece of material that you're making the paper with. All right, that's part of the problem, is it needs something dark. We'll get there. We'll get there. We just need more stuff, right? It's not done yet because we didn't add more stuff. Yeah, at an angle is going to have to happen. All right, this stuff I know is some kind of a lining material. I love this. It was lining a dress that I got at Goodwill, and I was looking at the Joann's online trying to find anything like it. Could not. So if anybody knows how to ID that, it's got a real thin weave, and it holds together when you kind of pull it apart like that. I love this fabric, and I don't want to use it all up, and yet I don't want to hoard it because I have a whole closet full of things that I've been hoarding. Well, it just depends on, if you're doing dryer lint only, you're going to want to add some kind of a adhesive to it into the mix, in my opinion. All right, let's see. It's a little long, so we're going to cut here. All right, and then trusty seam ripper. Just kind of get rid of these straight edges. So yeah, I don't know what this is, but it's just, I love it. I can take my nail underneath and just kind of separate some of the things. I know, Sharon, it's crazy. It's got all that good stuff, but it's not doing me any good just sitting in the closet. I just need to get out of my own way and use it. I could use up a ton of it making these pieces for this class, and that's really what I want to challenge myself to do after Thanksgiving. All right, now this is looking a little better. Too straight there. Oh, I like it when it gathers like that. Oh, you're through peeling hard-boiled eggs. Yeah, I wanted to make deviled eggs for Thanksgiving, but I can't do that with this finger. All right, let's layer this guy up. One of these days, I'll find somebody that can help me figure out what this is. Oh, I love it. You guys are connecting. Yay. And sometimes I'll lay it all out flat like that, and then I can just, gather it in and make it look more the way I want. Mouse, ours does too. It has a lot of hair in it. But, I saved Zoe's hair for a while and I was making cordage out of it. You can also mix the hair with a little bit of your wool. Okay, this piece is so strong, it needs to be back farther. Maybe coming down there. All right, now we're getting somewhere. Cooking with gas. Lost my cheesecloth on that side. All right, now what do we want to put on top of that? It's too narrow. I want some more lace. So mix a little bit of tulle, which is fun. Happy Thanksgiving, Lamea. Yeah, Lucy and Victoria are both in the Facebook group, so you should be able to connect there. Lori, absolutely. I know using the material will free me up to buy more. I freeze. I look in there and I freeze, and it's ridiculous. It's embarrassing. I have so much, and I just want to start using it so that it doesn't just, sit there. Handmade paper with hair embedded might be a bit much for people. Got some book material stuff you're dying to try the seam ripper on. Ooh, one is called Mull. I don't know Mull. You have to share a picture of it, Joanne. All right, that'll be a good dangly thing, but we need something else dark dangling. I cannot believe I did not bring any of my yarns out. For shame. These are all the bright colors. Doggone it. The white just doesn't do it on these. Oh, here's some rust. Why didn't you guys call that out, huh? It's white and looks like a coarse cheesecloth. Oh, like scrim even, right? Scrim, is that how you say it? We do have some of that. Book cloth can also, okay. I like this lace too. It does some fun things. Paper pulp, yep. And you can, even if you don't want to make your own, you can even buy from some of the big paper makers, you can buy your paper pulp ready for you just to mix up. All right. And this might be too much. I think I'm going way too big. Way too big for me. I really need some more contrast. Here's a piece of suede. Huh. All right, I might need to go back to my sparkly stuff in here. That's got a little bit of color. Decisions. It's just some thread. All right, the next one's going to have to be in a different color so that I can use up some of this other stuff. All right, let's see. Didn't I have some of the brown fuzzy? I had a little bit of the brown fuzzy left. It has another color in it, but that's going to be okay. You got to go to work. All right, Diana, have a good day. Lori, you're just learning about twisting scrap fibers together to make cordage. Yep, that's one of my most favorite things to do with my scrap threads. Always glad to have you join us, Diane. Let's see. So if we're going to let this one dangle, one thing I don't want to do is have it be even. But I think I'm going to have to cut this so more of the purple isn't in there because I really just don't want it. All right. Oh, camouflage the hair by adding some thread the same color as your hair. That's too funny. Yeah, I made some cordage with Zoe's hair and decided that I didn't like the feel of it. Although, you know, in other cultures, they use dog hair. In Alaska, they make all kinds of things from the dog hair. But I think if I did some spinning with it, you know, with a little bit of wool, it might come out a little different. This is some wool threads I got from a weaver. So I'm just kind of trying to separate it a little bit so that it is, you know, less perfect. I am not liking this at all. It's not doing it for me. So I need to figure out what it needs to make it more exciting for me. All right, this is the front side. So first we're going to get rid of those straight edges. I have a ton of solid blue material in the closet, and they're all just shades of blue, but they're all solid. So I think that's the first stuff that I'm going to tackle. I think I'm going to dye it with some stuff to get some different tones in there, and then I'll probably rust it. I didn't start weaving yet, Sharon. I figured I would lay out my fibers and stuff for that later today. I knew it wasn't one of those things that I could start on the live, but I will show it once I get going on it. Because I haven't done it enough where I feel super comfortable about what I'm doing yet. I have to keep going back and watching the video. But I'm excited to start playing with it. Okay. So I think my problem with this one is I was going too fat. So let's see what else we can do. The burlap is not going to want to hold together, but that's okay. Whatever wants to fall apart gets to fall apart. I'm not going to worry about that. All right, and let's just cut the cheesecloth again, and maybe that will help. I love it how you don't have to cut cheesecloth straight because it's always gonna. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, the couple that I did, but I definitely have to think about, you know, what I want to do with each of the color frames. All right, then, no. Problem is there's a lot of the stuff I don't like on here. That's interesting. I'm not normally that picky about these things. This one goes up top. Okay, we're getting a little better. Let me get this thing dangling. So if I use the knot at the top, I've got some fabrics that I want to tear up to use. And then I have some chunky yarn. And I bought some nettle and hemp yarn to use. Okay, Victoria, take care. I hope you feel better. So I've just got a wide variety of stuff that I kind of want to play with. Yeah, hydrate some more. Thanks, Victoria. You're my angel for that. I also want to do things like just take some wool roving and, you know, some things that aren't normally stuff that you would do with weaving like that. And I just kind of want to, so it'd be another way, you know, if I can figure out how I want to do these things, it'll be another way to use up some of that fabric. But while we still have some nice weather before our rains come, I really have a lot of rust dyeing that I want to do. I just want this to separate a little bit so I get these threads. Why is it one side's going to separate just fine and the other one's like, nope, not going to do it? Why doesn't it want to? It See, look at that. That side separated just fine. This side does not want to come unwound. There we go. There we go. That makes me happy. Yeah, I think fabric weaving could be really, really cool. You know, and then of course make some big fabric cordage and make some baskets would be nice. All right. We're getting a little better. Yeah, it just didn't have enough stuff in there. Sometimes it just needs more. Okay, this stuff is really fine, but I don't need all of it in there. Part of it. You're in for a wet summer. I hope we've got some rain coming soon, but it's nothing in the forecast for the next 10 days. It's been really windy. All right, I'm just going to take some of this and kind of mush it together. Sometimes that's what all it takes is just mushing a bunch of these things together. All right, this was an old tassel of some kind. I'd really like to get another tone in here. I think that would work. Oh, there we go. Rain is messing with your resource washing. You had big plans for nice spring weather. Must have heard about your plans. Yeah. Life gets in the way when we're making other plans. All right, let's see if we make this guy more like this. That might work. See if we can unravel these a little bit. There's a real thin thread on the, oh, I like the way this is mushing up. This is nice. Could maybe take a seam ripper in there and break that thread, but probably not while I was on camera. Oh, there we go. There we go. Ooh, I can take the whole thread out. I don't know that I want to do that. I could have just been knotting this. That would have been something too. All right, so I think what I'm going to do is just kind of put all of that in there together. I want the brown on top, that much I know. And where's my other little brown guys? Ah, come out, wherever you are. I had a stack of little brown threads, I thought. Maybe this is awful pink, isn't it? The more I'm looking at that, it looks too pink. It's not going to work. I don't mind the orange, but I don't want the pink. Let's see. The gold could go. Sometimes a little touch of black is nice. It just sort of wakes some things up. So I'm going to take just this little chunk of black. I think this was embroidery floss. So we can separate it out. Get it different lengths, make a little knot. And we'll just kind of peek out of there. All right, and we'll add the gold. Maybe. No, maybe we'll just stop just with that one. All right, now find my needle. Ta-da. Yeah, the right color either just brings everything together or makes it fall apart, right? It's like this little dangly stuff is sparkly and it's got some blues in it, but I don't mind it. I still feel like I want something else though, and I don't know what the something else is. All right, I'm liking that. I put put my needle in my mouth, I can't talk at the same time. All right, and then I think this needs to go on the same side over here. All right, this is going to be tricky trying to get all this to go together. You think the blues would be pretty in there? I should do a blue and brown one. I was going to do blues next. Joanne says, the thing that is bothering me about making clusters is if I will make them thick enough. I know there's no rule, but sometimes I might like minimal. Yeah, but then, you know, if you make a bunch up, not a bunch, make a few up, and they're not going to be right for that project, then you just have them in your stash and you save them aside for the next time. It's like I have a bunch of clusters made up, but they weren't quite right. I had a bunch. Let's see if I can reach my examples. So a lot that I had done like this, they're very simple, and you can always then put like another piece of cheesecloth behind them, you know, to dress them up if you want. But I realized with this project that I'm doing that I wanted things that were a little bit more dangly and a little bit larger. So I just have a few more pieces in my stash right now. It's starting to come together, huh, Lucy? And sometimes it really is just a matter of just keep adding the layers, but there's nothing wrong. A lot of mine start off very minimal, just like, you know, if I'm sitting here after the show and I'm like, okay, let's just grab a couple of these things and I'll just stitch them together, and then I leave it. And then, you know, the next time I'm at my desk, I see that, it's like, oh, well, here's something else I can add to it. You know, don't be racing for the finish line all the time. That's my problem. And I say that because it's me. I'm always racing for the finish line, and I don't want to be racing for the finish line because it gets in the way of enjoying what it is that we're doing. Barbara says, I love rust. I call it rust painting so my family doesn't think I'm so weird. Yeah, I love the rust too. I do have to wear a mask because I discovered that I'm sensitive to any of it flaking off. It, you know, kind of gives me the coughing, sore throaty kind of stuff. And yeah, there's no rules, but I know we always like to have some guidelines when we're getting started. And the first time I go back to making clusters when I haven't made them for a while, I always hesitate. Well, Joanne, you're a lot like me in that, you know, we make things to sell. And so we can't shut off that business side of our brain. You know, we're always thinking, okay, well, is this something that the public's going to want? And somebody posted something in response, I think, on one of my YouTube videos when I was talking about that. And she said, or maybe it was on Instagram, she said that, you know, I have certain things that I make that are studio pieces or just the process of learning how to do whatever it is that I want to learn how to do, you know, and then there's pieces that are going to go for sale. And as I've been curating all the photos of work that I've done over the past couple of years for the website, I realized that not everything landed in the art family. There are a lot of things that were just, you know, these would be good for a blog post, or these would be, you know, good videos to make, but they're not art. They're not something that I'm going to put in the shop to sell. And it was a kind of a nice awakening for me, because I realized that I didn't have the pressure. I could go back and try some more of that kind of stuff again and see if I could get better at it and see if I could come at it at a different angle. I don't want to race for the finish line. I spent so much time in my writing life racing for the finish line, and it was exhausting. I realized what I love about this lace when I pick it apart. It makes me think about lichen we would find out on our trees. Okay, I don't have everything collected, so I want to... Another thing you can do, let me finish stitching this down. Sharon says, my family already thinks I'm weird. It's way too late for smoke screens. I know. Same here. Same here. My husband just accepts this. This is the way she is. All right. Got a little bit of the cheesecloth showing there. Got a little bit of it showing there. Now I just need to make sure stuff isn't going to all fall off. Hey, Michelle, you had a visitor right when we started. Oh, well, I'm glad you're able to pop in and say hello. I'll be here for another 15 minutes or so. And then I'll give you a tip. Just a second here. Let me make sure this is all stitched down. So for me, what makes a perfect cluster is not, well, not perfect. I don't want to use that word. What makes a good cluster, one that makes me happy, may not be what makes you happy. But for me, I want it to look like a tangle. I want it to look like the fairies have been running through the forest and all their clothes caught on the branches as they were running through. I want not straight edges on laces and fabrics, and I want dangly bits. Yours might be, you know, a little, and by you, I mean whoever, a little bit more precise, and that's okay too. But it's that sigh of satisfaction that Sharon mentions that we feel when it's like, okay, this makes me happy. But I have a tip, and I will show you in just a minute. And I think that's all connected. Get my long, nope. Okay, my orange thread over there is not connected. I thought it was drifting. Let's see if I can pull it back in here a little. There's a knot, so it should help me. Oh, the knot is way over there. Thank you. This is the third one. Trying to do some bigger dangly ones so that I can mount them on some papers. And then sometimes I come through the wrong angle and I really have a mess. All right, this is not this stupid finger's getting in my way. I'm getting frustrated here. All right, if this doesn't work, I'm going to come at it a different way. Ooh, okay, so now it wants to fold over on itself, and I'm kind of liking that, and I'm going to let it happen. I think clusters have been very helpful for me being able to let go of being perfect, because, you know, all the scraps are different. You're not going to cut things the same size. They're all going to be different. Yeah, I always think about that, the fairies running through the forest. And they're not going to stop. They're not going to stop when their clothes catch. They're just going to, you know, let them rip and keep right on running. Yeah, you and Terry, who couldn't be with us today, all about the fairies. So I'm just kind of coming through that knot a couple times to make sure that orange thread is connected. Oops, and my cheesecloth got caught in my knots. That's a bummer. That's a bummer because I really liked it hanging off the top there. Let's see what we can do here. If we cut it, we can at least get some of it going that way on the side. And let's knock this off and get out of here. But I think, you know, if you don't worry about the end result on this, you don't worry about, is it going to work on the current project? Because a lot of times I'll come out here and I'll think, okay, I'm going to make this thing for this idea that I have working on. And I get done. It's like, well, it's a nice idea, but it's not going to work for the project. So then I just have something else in my stash. Okay, put the needle away. So I lost my cheesecloth coming out the top, but I'm still okay with it. I'm still okay with it. So that gives me 3 of those. Sometimes I use a thimble. I'm not very good with a thimble. I'm kind of klutzy. All right, so here's, I was going to do a blue one, but actually I think what I'll do is I'll show you, and I don't have any, oh, I should have my clips. Wait a minute, I do have some clippies. 1 second, so I don't dump water all over my computer. All right, what I want are these wonderful little clips. You could use paper clips, you could use whatever works for you. And when you've got a bunch of stuff sitting on your desk that you're not sure what to do with, then just start gathering them up and saying, okay, that's a big piece. I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to take this and I'm going to cut a chunk of this off. And I've got some burlap. And I've got this rust stuff that I like. I'm not worrying about stitching anything right now. I'm just gathering up some things that might go together. Some things that I could play around with. And then I'm just going to take a clip and I'm just going to clip them together. Okay. Now I can come back and add some things to it, but I don't have to. It's going to be a longer one. I've got some of this here. Got some of the tinge of yellow to it. You know, use bulb pins, use safety pins. Just gather up some of those things. And then when you come back and look at it, you'll think, oh, okay, I kind of want to go that direction with it. Now I want to go a different direction with it. You don't have to use the stuff because you clipped it together, but it's a starting point. And when you put it aside and you come back to it later, it's going to look different to you. It's not going to look the same. And you're either going to be intrigued or you're going to say, nope. And then you can just, undo the clips and throw it all back in your scrap box. But this way I'll have some other things that I can come in and play with. You can have some of the green maybe. It's the wrong shade of green, but you never know. It might work. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it all comes together. I'm just randomly grabbing some stuff out of here. It won't be necessarily all the things I need to put one together, but it's a good start. And so all of these are potential clusters. I was going to try and do a blue one. Let's see if we... How fast can Susan put a cluster together? I don't know. I put my needle aside. Show you another way that I sometimes put them together. Is there enough thread on this one? All right. So one of the other things I'll do is I'll stitch as I go. So did I bring out? I think I brought out some blue fabric. Maybe I did. Wouldn't be bad to have a blue one. Let's cut a chunk. Again, I don't want my square edges, so I'm going to have to abuse this a little bit. And I have no idea. Ooh, that's a nice tear. Yeah, share the love. Do you know that that's one of the best things you can do on YouTube and on Instagram? If you share somebody else's work, share it around with your friends, with your audience. It's really very helpful. It doesn't cost you anything except for some time. Okay, that got rid of my straight edges, so that makes me happy. All right, so then I'm not going to think a lot about what I'm doing here. I'm just going to take my needle. I've just got two pieces. It's not a cluster yet. It's just two pieces. But I'm just going to put them together now. And then it's like, well, I do have a little bit of blue. Whoops, that's not the blue. Somewhere I have a little bit of blue cheesecloth. I thought, let's see here. I do. I've got some blue cheesecloth. So I'm just going to cut a little piece of that off. And what else do we have? Okay, so normally I would say that blue is not going to work, but let's see what happens when we abuse it a little bit. Sometimes when it's not so solid, it's not quite so in your face. It might not work, but no, not a fan. Let's see what else we have. Piece of vintage material. I wouldn't mind some blue lace, but I don't think I have the other blue lace out here. Ooh, there's a different blue fabric though. I like that. So I'm just gonna, there we go. I'm just gonna, my needle's still in there. I'm just gonna keep adding to it this way. Let's see if I make it, if I do it at the top, I'll have it a little bit more like a dangly thing. And I could stop right here at any time, you know, and say, okay, well, it's not done yet, but I don't know what it's going to, you know, I don't know where it's going to go next, and that's okay. But I think by doing that, and if I grab, it might be still a little too bright. But some white would not be bad. Nope, don't like the white. Wow, that was a quick decision. Oh, what do I have in the sorry scraps? Anything that might put some of that brown. It's a nice piece of brown that could go at the back. Because we know from the last Just Because book that the blues and the browns go really good together. Went to the kitchen and saw the most beautiful taupe colored, I never had to say that, netting that came off the turkey. Definitely confiscated it. I usually see yellow netting. Well, that's cool. All right. I want this a little more frayed up here. So it's not cooperating. Come on, we're on a time crunch here, kind of, sort of. All right, so let this kind of come in maybe at an angle. Maybe that's what that needs. All right, so we've got a needle there. We're just gonna come back through. Doesn't have to be hard. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just have to say, I'm having a good time doing this, and I am having a good time doing this because I'm hanging out with you guys. All right, and then we want to put a little bit of something coming down. No, don't want the green. Some blue thread. I wouldn't mind a little bit of something brown. But since I don't have any brown thread, I've got a piece of material that was like this. I've got brown material I can pull apart and get some threads that way. And then I'm just going to take one of these blue things. Oh, you just realized why there's all the turkey talk before Christmas? Yeah. Tomorrow is a big eating day for us here in the States. So you don't always have to use the needle. You can just tie stuff together. And maybe the stuff will get all caught up in it, and that's even better. See, it's gotten even more weird and imperfect because we want that imperfect stuff. All right, you know I'm going to cut the edges of that off because we don't want it to be too perfect there. And a little bit of dark cheesecloth if I've got some. No, but I've got this, and that'll do just fine. Just a tiny, tiny piece. Yeah, I want to do some more blues for sure. The blues and the browns on that last book, I was really excited with. or I guess it was a book before last. I'm starting to number the Just Because books now so I can keep track of them. All right, so which side is my needle? Is on here. And we're going to put that one there. And whoops. And I pulled my needle right out of my thread. Or my thread right out of my needle, I guess. I guess it works both ways, right? The thread goes through the needle. Almost, almost. Yeah, blues and neutrals, happy place. Okay, we're just gonna come up. All right. I still want some threads, but I want to attach. So if you can just attach it as you go, and then you can decide, you know, well, maybe that's big enough. Maybe I don't need to add any more. Maybe you just save things until you see what it's going on. You know, having minimal clusters to start with are always nice because that way if you're going to put them in a journal, they're not going to be too bulky. All right, so we have that. Now we need a little bit of something. This kind of got moved over. It's okay too. And the other thing is, you know, they're just scraps. So if you're not crazy about it, when you're done with it, take it apart. Start over, throw it back in your scrap pile. It's okay. It's not the end of the world if you decide, it didn't work for me. Absolutely not the end of the world. I love it when I have a big old pile of knot threads like that. I'm doing this because the blue was a little bit too much in its face. So this is like a 10-minute cluster. This is just not worrying about how all these things are coming together. I can tell you one thing that's bugging me about it right now, but it's an easy fix. All right, let's knock this guy off. Don't want to pull my thread out of the needle. I'm almost there. Almost there. Doggone it. So close. I can grab this, at least the threads are long enough. There we go. All right, so that's a 10-minute cluster. And I'm going to cut these little loops. And the only thing that kind of bugs me, then also depends on when you put it down, what you put it down on, is this might be a little straight. So I'm just gonna tear it down a little bit more. And this is a little straight. A few more little loops to cut. And then, of course, depending on what you put it on, then you can always decide to cut some more off of your length if you don't want that much of it. But I like to leave the long pieces like that because then you can always decide to go in and tie a bead on if you want. So an hour and a half chatting and 4 clusters made. I am pretty pleased with those. Let's see, I can get them center and I can bring you guys down a little bit more. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Guess that's all. Hi, Beth. Yeah, I'm just about done. My voice is telling me I have had enough. Hope you're having a good day. Is there a sale going on that we need to announce, Beth? before I log off. I like people to be able to know what's going on. I appreciate everybody hanging out with me today. And I hope you all, those of you in the States that are celebrating Thanksgiving tomorrow, I hope you have a marvelous day with your friends, family, loved ones, or if you're all by yourself, hope you're eating all your favorite foods. Yeah, this one reminds me of seaweed too. This lace, definitely, I've got a big piece of it out in the garage. Whoops, not that one. And it's all like this. It's a wonderful tablecloth that you can shred and make it look like lichen. All right, guys, thank you so much. I will see you in the group. Post what you're working on and continue to support one another. Love you all so much. All right. Bye-bye for now. See you next week. Oh, Patty is continuing her Black Friday week this evening at 5 p.m. Eastern time, okay? That's over at Sacred Mementos. Bye, everybody.